Lyric Opera of Chicago has turned to Russia with a Tchaikovsky favorite, Eugene Onegin. And among the production's very international principals are a celebrated Puerto Rican soprano and an equally acclaimed New York-born Sicilian Ecuadorian tenor. And those were María Martínez and Charles Castronovo in Lyric Opera's Eugene Onegin, which opened just this past Sunday. And fresh off that triumph, they join us here in the studio. So nice to meet you and have both of you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, based on the heritages that I just said, I don't think that Russian is your native language for either of you, isn't it? No. So is it difficult for you to transition to a Russian opera from singing Italian and French that you usually do?
The greatest challenge is because I don't speak the language normally, and of course I know every word that I'm singing and the meaning of it. It just takes a bit longer. If it were in Italian or French, 2 weeks max, I'd have it memorized and ready to go. But this one took months of dedication and working daily with a wonderful Russian coach that I'm blessed lives in Houston, where I'm based. So I was able to coordinate that with him. And also, the important thing to note is when you sing in a language you don't speak, even though you know what you're singing, there is a visceral connection that you normally don't have when you do speak the language. So it's a much deeper, more primitive, in a way, emotional response that you have to the piece and to the character.
And I would imagine the music kind of takes you there as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, music expresses what no word in any language can.
Well, Anna, we also should mention that in addition to the duo of the tenor and soprano in his home, you have also a pedigree of soprano in your life, and that's your mother, Evangelina Colon, who is a very well-known soprano, at least in Latin America. Yeah. How big of an influence and mentor was she for you?
Enormous influence. Whether she wanted to be or not, she was an enormous influence. I was apparently humming and singing way before I could make any words. Speak in either Spanish or English.
And this was in Puerto Rico?
I was born there, and then at the age of 5 months, I went with my parents to Tallahassee. They were getting their doctorates at Florida State University. So the first 4 years of my life were spent there with them. So I was always with her, rehearsals, coachings, voice lessons. She studied in New York, where I was raised ultimately with the great Eleanor Stever. And when she couldn't find a babysitter,
wow.
I got to go.
Wow, that's quite a babysitter, quite a babysitting. She wasn't your babysitter,
but she was indirectly teaching me as well when I would attend my mother's lessons. Yeah.
Now, in addition to singing Russian opera, both of you have kind of tapped into your heritages. Ana Maria, I know that you have done a little bit of work, more than a little bit of work with Plácido Domingo and singing a lot of zarzuela. We have a little bit of video of you from that a recording made not too very long ago. And you were recently in Cuba with him, but that concert had to be canceled. Tell us about that.
It had to be postponed because the death of Fidel Castro took place during those days, and I guess we all woke up to the news that of the death and the passing of Castro.
So they didn't get to hear the two of you beautifully singing what is really like the traditional Spanish opera. What is that like for you to try to keep that art form alive? That's really not too well known in the United States yet.
It is, I would say, something that's been bestowed upon me, so to speak, by Plácido Domingo. In 1995, I was the first recipient of the Pepita en Bill Award in honor of his mother, which is now referred to as the Zarzuela Prize in his competition. And he told me, with this prize, with this honor, you must champion this art form wherever you go. That is the one request I make of you, and I've taken that very seriously. So we have been performing together in concerts for over 20 years. Around the 20th year anniversary, we got to sing here in Chicago together last year.
Oh, wonderful.
And every time, we always include zarzuela, and every time I am on my own or with a different group, I always try to do the same.
And we hope to hear more zarzuelas from you here in Chicago. Ana María Martínez and Charles Castronovo, so good to have you here. Thank you for joining us, and we're going to be hearing from your beautiful voices in just a moment, so we look forward to that. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
And Lyric Opera of Chicago's production of Eugene Onegin runs through March 20th, and we'll have a performance from Charles Castronovo in just a little while. But here now with a portion of the famous letter aria from Eugene Onegin is Ana Maria Martinez, accompanied on the piano by William Billingham.
Služenim